Hi there, boys and girls. It's me again, Rona Barbour, your storyteller. And I'm going to tell you another little story, one which I think you'll enjoy, and one which I hope you'll learn from, because there's a very important message in here. George and Anna were a young married couple, and they'd been married for well over a year. And they were perfectly happy. They lived in Manchester in a flat. And it was about 80 years ago that this took place. And there was a special day coming up. No, it wasn't their anniversary. In actual fact, they shared the same birthday. And they were both excited about the birthday coming up, 4th of July, same day as American independence. But they'd always agreed that they were saving now for things, what's going to come up in the future, and never know what was going to happen next. So they decided that they wouldn't buy each other presents because they didn't have a lot of money. Oh, but Anna felt bad about this. She desperately wanted to buy George a present, and she knew what she wanted to buy him. And he wanted to buy her a present, and he knew what he wanted to buy her. But dare they break the code of, we'll not buy presents this year. So, as it happens, Anna was going out to buy some nice food for the evening, for the meal, the birthday meal. And as she did, she passed the same hairdressers that she passed every time she walked to the market. But she'd never noticed this sign before. There was a huge big sign up in the front window which says, "Human hair bought and sold." My, oh my. Anna's crowning glory was her hair. She had the most magnificent head of hair. It was jet black, shone like silk, and was halfway down her back. I wonder how much money they would give me for some of my hair. I could buy that present for George. She hesitated and then just suddenly burst through the door of the shop. And there was only the barber there cutting a man's hair. Ladies' hairdressing was upstairs. So he pointed to her and said, "She's upstairs." And Anna started to walk upstairs, trying to pluck up the courage to have some of her hair cut off. I wonder how much money I'll get for it. The old lady was waiting at the top of the stairs, an old lady that Anna had never seen before, and she didn't like the look of her. She didn't look very clean for a start. She had long nails that weren't clean, and Anna just shuddered, hoped it wasn't visible, and stood back. And the old lady came forward again and grabbed Anna's hair and said, "Oh, that's a fine head of hair, my lovely. You're here to sell it to me, are you?" And Anna said, "Well, not all of it. I don't want you to cut it all off. Maybe if you cut it to about there, to my shoulders." "Oh, that'll be fine," the old lady said, "because it'll grow again." "How much money will you give me for it?" she said to the old lady. And the old lady said, "Well, it's £5 an ounce." That was an incredible amount of money. I mean, there's a lot of hair in an ounce, it has to be said, but even so, Anna couldn't believe it. And the old lady said, "So shall we then?" And she grabbed Anna's hair before Anna could say another word and pulled it all right back like this, like as if she was putting a ponytail in. And then she took the biggest pair of scissors Anna has ever seen and sliced right through the hair. And when she let go and it fell, it just went like this. And it was just about the same length as mine. Anna was horrified. She said, "I didn't want all that cut off." And the old lady said, "Oh, don't worry about it. It'll grow. And now you're going to have plenty of money to buy some goodies." Anna was horrified. And the old lady put the hair on the scales. And then she did something very naughty. She cheated Anna. She held the scales, and Anna could see this, but she was too frightened to say anything. And the old lady said, 3.5 ounces. That'll be £17.50. That was a lot of money in those days. But Anna knew it should have been more. It should have been more like £25 or £30 even, for all the hair she had taken. But she couldn't argue. She was too upset for a start. So she just took the money and fled from the shop, crying all the way down the stairs and all the way down the street till she got to the market. And then she gave herself a good shake and thought, better smarten up. And she started to buy the things that she wanted to buy for this special birthday treat. She bought some really nice meat. And she bought a candlestick that she'd admired for a long time. She said, instead of buying a birthday cake, I'm going to buy that candlestick. And then we can have it for years and we'll share it. We'll put one candle in it, light the candle, and we'll both blow it out. After all, we have got a joint birthday. And we'll sing happy birthday to each other. And that started to cheer her up a little bit, just thinking about being with George that night. She bought some flowers. She bought a couple of really pretty things that she would never have considered buying before, and one of them was she bought a great big headscarf that she could tie round her head and put it in a bow at the front so that George wouldn't know, at least for now, that she'd cut her hair. And when she got home, she had cheered up a bit, and she began to set the table, and she put the food through in the kitchen, and she put the candlestick on the mantelpiece, and she put the present beside it. She had stopped for it on the way home. This was a very special present. George was the proud owner of a gold watch, a pocket watch that had belonged to his great-grandfather. And what she'd always wanted to buy him was a chain for that watch. And she knew it would cost a lot of money. In actual fact, it cost £8.50. £8 and 10 shillings. That was a lot of money in those days. Well, it was done. She put the box beside the candlestick and she waited for George. And she heard him coming up the stairs a little while later. She heard his whistle. He always whistled like that, coming up, and then the next minute he was in the door. And at first glance, he took in the parcel on the mantelpiece and he said, thought we weren't buying each other presents. And she said, well, I couldn't resist. And he said, well, it's just as well. And he brought his hand from behind his back and he had a parcel too. And she said, is that for me? Oh, I'm so excited. But we weren't going to buy each other presents, but I'm so glad we did. And he put that box beside the candlestick. He said, oh, very nice candlestick. Was that a present from somebody? She said, I'll tell you the whole story later. And they both went through to the kitchen and they both prepared the meal. And then they sat down and they had the meal. And when it was finished, George said, that's one of the best meals I've had in a very long time. Happy birthday, my sweetheart. She said, happy birthday to you too, my sweetheart. And she lit the candle, which was now on the table. And both presents sat side by side. And she said, you open yours first. And he said, no, you open yours first. He says, you'll never guess what it is. He says, it's something you've always wanted. Every time we've passed the shop, you've stopped and said, oh, they are so beautiful. Maybe one day if we win the lottery or something. He opened his box. And his face fell. He didn't like it. She said, oh no, you don't like it. He says, it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. He said, open yours. And she opened hers and burst into floods of tears. He said, I thought you loved them. You always wanted them. Every time we saw them and she whipped the scarf off her head. What have you done? He said. She said, I sold my hair to buy your watch chain. He said, and I sold my watch chain to buy your tortoise shell combs for your beautiful long hair. And they both sat and held on to each other and sobbed for a good 10 minutes. And then George said to Anna, let that be a lesson to us, Anna. I didn't need that watch chain. You didn't need those combs. We just needed each other. But we've got them now. And we'll pass them down as heirlooms. And I'll work hard and I'll earn enough money to get that watch back out of the pawn shop. I don't know if he ever did. But I know one thing, he regretted ever selling it in the first place.